Hello, everybody. How you doing today? My name is Horizontal, and this is Online Marketing Moves. This is episode 8 of our new and improved podcast. We're coming to you live from the chilly city of Atlanta, Georgia. When I mean chilly, it's probably like 50 degrees, but I've gotten quite used to the Georgia weather. For me, 50 degrees, 55 degrees, I'm like, man, it's kind of cold. 60 degrees. Anything above 75 works for me. So, well, 70 and up works for me. That's just me. Maybe you live in Minnesota and 30 degrees does you justice. But anyway, we're going to talk about opinions today. Having an opinion. Now, why do I bring this up? Because I remember last week, a couple weeks ago, I think, I saw on Twitter machine that a football coach, he got fired. He got fired from his job. I thought the guy did a decent job, and I saw somebody post something, and they was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. They was just, talking about how bad he was, he sucked, this, that, the other. And then I commented. I normally, comment a lot on Twitter. I mainly just post my, I mainly just post, well, every day once the podcast comes out, I normally go on Twitter and post about the podcast. And I might throw in my 2 cents about this and that, but it's not a whole lot. But I commented on the guy's picture, and I said, I was like, well, he's the head coach of South Carolina. He's been doing a pretty good job, so I don't know why they would fire him during the pandemic or whatever. And little did I know this was set off a whole conversation with a lot of people, and I said, it's very interesting. And two things that two subjects that will get people going, and get people commenting a lot is sports and politics. If you don't agree with somebody's politics these days, they will go on and on and on about, why not, this, that, and the other. And if you give a difference of opinion, a lot of people will jump on and comment and say a lot of things. It's very interesting how that works. So I was thinking about how can you apply that to your, online business. And one thing you have to do, you should do, is have your own opinion. Because we all think different. Everybody has a different thought. Don't follow somebody to a T. It's like, I give you another example. Every now and then I watch my boy Skip Bayless on his TV show. And Skip Bayless, he anytime people like, and some of it you can just tell it's kind of stick, you know what I mean? But he's like, they're like, oh, LeBron had 30 points. He had, such. LeBron is like the best player. And then Skip Bayless, he's always like a thundercloud. He's like, yeah, LeBron, he's good and everything, but he's no Michael Jordan. And it's like, oh boy. But that works for him. It's funny to me. It's just like, come on, come on, Skip Bayless. Everybody knows everybody knows you put on the act. Yet people always come back. People always comment. People always have something to say. And he's gotten, I don't know, popular or hate or whatever he is. It works for him. His opinion of LeBron James and his little affection for the Cowboys has moved him from. I remember I saw the guy in the 90s. He was a reporter. And that was great and everything. He was, sure he was good at his job writing in the newspaper, but he's gained the most. He has gained his most fame and the most money from having these, opinions. He's very opinionated, and it's very different than what somebody else would think. And it's sort of like the Bill O'Reilly for me. I remember Bill O'Reilly. He was I mean, this fella was on Inside Edition, like one of those kind of talk show magazines, Then he went on Fox News, and then he had a show. Show was kind of decent in the beginning, I watched the show, but then I guess somebody must have told Mr. O'Reilly, give us more opinion, give us more, less facts, more opinion, sir. And he definitely went. He definitely went for the gusto, and he started giving more opinion. He started pushing his opinion as it was facts. It's very and people was like, yeah, Bill O'Reilly, yeah. And he was a lightning rod. You was either with Bill O'Reilly or you wasn't with Bill O'Reilly. And it's strange how that works. It's like people love to disagree. People love to be right, and if you come with it's like if you were, say if you want to do a podcast about sports, which I've thought about before. The one thing if you just do this one thing, you will gain some traction. Trust me. If you just have an opinion, and if you stick with this opinion, don't move off this opinion, you will get some followers, you will get some listeners, because people will just be so pissed at you, so annoyed at you, that they will keep listening. It is, I mean, not that I'm saying that you just make up an opinion, you make up like, I really believe that, like, okay, Skip Bayless knows that LeBron James is a great player, but his argument is always he's not better than Michael Jordan. That's his only argument. So when people say LeBron is great or LeBron might be the greatest, he always comes off the top rope with the elbow drop about Michael Jordan. So now it's like it's like if you ever watched a movie. I talked about this yesterday. You ever watch one of those movies, and it's based on a real story. It's like this is a true story, and then mixed in is a little Hollywood. Mixed in is a little flair, a little gusto. So that's what I mean when I say have an opinion. Of course, believe what you say, because don't BS around. I mean, come on, but believe what you say, and and you can rile people up. It's funny. You can rile people up, you believe what you say, but you could just add on a little syrup, you know what I mean? And people will fall for it. People will get upset, and it's funny. They will either love you more or they'll be like, I don't like them at all. But they'll keep listening. It's crazy to me, And it's funny how that works. It's just like you see these guys now on YouTube. You'll see people on YouTube. You know how everybody on YouTube is like, hey, you can make money online. You can make money online, And you got these guys that are like, don't believe them. They're con artists. What do you think they're doing? They have an opinion. It's a different opinion. They're trying to siphon followers from these other people, And if you get them in a room, they might say, oh no, I'm trying to help people out. Come on, pal. You're helping yourself out. You know what I mean? You have an opinion. You're going against the grain. You're saying, no, this stuff doesn't work. These people are con artists. You know what I mean? It's like, all right. I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? You are putting on a show yourself. Just like I saw this guy. He made a video about Russell Brunson, and he was like, "Is Russell Brunson a con? Is he a con artist? Yes or no?" And people was like, no, I don't think he's a con artist. And the other people were like, yes, he's a con artist. I can't stand him, blah, 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 blah. And this guy, he got like 30,000 views from this video, So it's like, it's people, and then people like, oh no, I'm trying to help you out, It's like, you might be trying to help people out, don't get me wrong, but you're also helping yourself out, Like I do this podcast, of course, to help people out, but come on now. Let's be honest. And at the end of the day, I'm also here to help myself out, I'm here to get more listeners. I'm here to, drive up more, revenue for the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I want more people to listen. Of course, if you can get something from this podcast, great. You know what I mean? But it's a two-way street. It's not like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I don't give a damn if I don't make a dime. I want you to get something out of it. I would like for you to get something out of it, and I would like to make a dime. You know what I'm saying? So I don't sugarcoat that at all. But it's just don't be a wishy-washy kind of person when it comes to doing this stuff. Once you start putting yourself out there, don't fall back to the, well, maybe, can't, kind of, sort of, It's like, nah. It's like I told you the other day. Yeah, you could make it. I definitely believe you can make it. But if you don't put in the work, it's not going to, it's not going to happen, I'm going to tell you why the reason why I stopped. I said I got to cut the profanity out. Because, as you well know, I'm going to take this podcast and start putting it on YouTube, So I was like, and I want to I want to monetize YouTube. I want to make some dollars on YouTube, of course, And plus, sorry, we're going off course a little bit, but the reason why, because I'm not a Dave Chappelle, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a comedian out here making dollars from my jokes, This is, if you have to take this seriously, This is like a broadcast. You're like a broadcaster, you know what I mean? And, eventually people are going to find you, whether it's you get to them or people start, once you gain more success, once you gain more, everything else, people are going to find you, And me, myself, I'm going to establish myself as an authority, and I'm going to start going on like those speaking things, So if somebody wants to pay me X amount of dollars, and then they listen to a few podcasts, I can't be out here MFing this and MFing you that, because if you want to get to those corporate jobs or whatever things, they don't want, they're going to be like, are you a comedian? I go, no, I just like to cuss for fun. They're like, we'll give you $1,000. How about that? Nah, trying to make the maximum dollar, So this is why the profanity, plus, let's be honest with each other. Do you really need to use profanity to get your point across all the time? Of course not. So, that's another thing. Plus, me and my wife, I would like to have a child. We would like to have children. So I don't want to. Eventually they'll learn a few curse words and everything, but I don't want to be the. I don't want to be the point man. I don't want to be the point man when it comes to them learning how to swear like a sailor. But anyway, so I'm only telling you this because it can help you out as well. Whenever you do a podcast, whenever you do a video, you have to be careful about what you say and how you say it. You have to frame it. So if you're doing a podcast and you want to start uploading on YouTube, and you're gonna have because some days, of course, some days you might just break out into a Andrew Dice Clay bit, profanity laced or whatever. But so you want to break down your podcast in more segments, And of course, that's something else that we're going to be doing on the podcast. It's going to be, normally now I just go on and on and on, for 20, 30 minutes, sometimes even like 40 minutes, But to get because I'm going to upload the stuff on YouTube, but I'm not going to upload the whole podcast on YouTube because that would defeat the purpose. I'm going to upload, bits, 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe at a time, stuff like that on YouTube. So that way, tell them, hey, you want to hear more audio, you want to hear more of the podcast, sign up, the listenership, come on down, join us, So that's that. And then we'll mix in the videos on the YouTube channel, but that's the strategy. So you can take that and run with it if you want to. I'm just here to help. But anyway, you definitely want to have an opinion, and you definitely want. It's like I'll give you another example. A guy that makes me laugh. I told you I listen to only one wrestling podcast. I only listen to this wrestling podcast because I like the guy. I used to see the guy when I was a kid and in my teenage years, he was a wrestling manager. His name was Jim Cornette. Very entertaining guy, very funny guy. And he interviews people sometimes and he just talks about old wrestling, And I like old wrestling. I don't like the new. I don't even watch the stuff now, but he's entertaining and the only thing he was doing was giving his opinion, And for some reason, he has become more and more with the wrestling organization. He has become more polarizing, and the fans that don't like him, they're like, "F you, Cornette. I can't stand you. You always bash against my wrestling." And he's like, "Hey man, I just have an opinion. That's it, Of course, I mean, I wholeheartedly believe that is his opinion. He racks it up a couple notches every now and then. It's funny. You know what I mean. But he has more. The people that don't like him listen to the show too. Which is crazy because if these people did listen to the show, how would they know he's bad mouthing the company that they like to watch? You know what I mean? So I'm not saying you have to be a negative jerk all the time, you have to, but it's just your opinion. It's what you believe in. If you believe it, then you're not being negative. You're just stating a fact, So never be afraid to give your opinion when it comes to your content, Of course you give facts, but you also have to, you mix in your opinion, You come and you say, hey, it's just like if I start once I'm home on a regular basis, I will have a project about talking about sports because I do like sports. I enjoy them. I cut back on them now because I'm trying to do this. But yeah, and people, you can't be like, oh, I think the Jets are gonna win, or I think the Jets might. Nah, the Jets they stink. The Jets they always stunk. I mean that's an opinion. Or you could be like, I think the Jets are the greatest dynasty ever. I mean, you can say that. And people are going to be like, you're effing nuts, blah, 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 blah. But be strong in your opinions, Be, stand on what you say, Say what you mean. So that's it for now. Good night, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Sometimes, polarizing can bring in some. Polarizing can get you, it'll get you more followers. Just don't be boring. That's the whole thing. You can be opinionated. You could be funny. You could be fun. You could be serious. You can be whatever you want to be. But the one thing, and I will always say this: the one thing, no matter what topic we talk about, the one thing you can't be is boring. Don't be dry. Don't be like, no, you have to put on, this is this podcast, I know we talk, but you have to have a flair for the, you can't be like, I don't know if it's gonna work. It'd be like, I know it's gonna work for you boys and girls, woo, I don't know who I'm making laugh, but I find it funny right now. Anyway, that's it for today. Oh, yeah. Before we go, if you want to see the YouTube channel, go to Tony Rizano and be a subscriber because we're going to start uploading these little clips, uploading some of this stuff in the next week or two. All right? At first, I was having trouble finding a place to. At first, I was having trouble trying to figure out how to upload them onto the YouTube, but I found something. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get on it today. Start uploading some of the stuff. I don't think I'm gonna be able to upload the the older content, but I might get in there and check out. I might get in there and do some deep dive and check out a few minutes of certain things, but definitely the new stuff, the episodes now will definitely get uploaded. the non-foul language episodes of the podcast, you know. Some might say I sold out, but I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Act like I'm the Beatles or something, you know. Anyway. Oh yeah. Before we go, I will tell you this. I know, and I know we preach this heavy on this here show. Always keep doing your content, okay? Keep uploading your content. Keep providing content. You know, because I'm telling you, people will find it and people will listen to it and people will enjoy it and people will become a fan of yours, you know? You know, even if they, because a lot of times, at least once a week or once every couple weeks or so, more like once a week, when I go check out the numbers, you know, of how the podcast is doing to see if we're growing, you know, and it's always like one day out of a week, like somebody, I don't know who, you know, I don't know who or whatever, but people will find the podcast and then they will listen to it, and then apparently, you know, they like it, and then they will listen to them some more and some more and some more and some more, you know. And it's always like one day where, like I remember I'll give you an example. One day when it was about a month, 2 months into the podcast, and the numbers were definitely like kind of, you know, not, you know, they wasn't peppy, you know what I mean? Now I'm happy with, you know, I'm content with the pace that is going on. But before it was slow, because, you know, the first 30 days I didn't tell anybody. So the first 30 days was kind of slow. Second month, you know, we started gaining some traction. And then one day I looked and like the podcast got downloaded like 70 times in a day. And at that point, I was like, oh, it's like, wow. I was like, well, there you go. There you have it. I was like, and then that's when I was like, okay, this is going to work. It might take time. You know, of course, you know, Rome ain't built in a day, as you well know. Things take time to build, especially, as I told you before, it's not that you're a nobody. It's just nobody knows who you are. You know what I'm saying? Remember that. It's not that you're a nobody. It's just nobody knows who you are. I'm not talking about, you know, I'm talking about in the content, the online space. Nobody knows who you are, you know. So it takes time to build this thing, especially when you're starting from scratch. You know, if you're starting from the beginning, you know, it's not like, oh, I've been in this 20, you know, you and I was in this 20 years ago, and we've been at this 20 years, and you say, hey, I got a new podcast coming. Then, of course, this wouldn't be this wouldn't be a thing where you're starting at, like, ground zero, you know. Like, this podcast I started was at ground zero, maybe below ground zero, but, you know, now we are picking up steam and everything like that. So, every week now, every couple of weeks, it's like a spike. It's like somebody else joins, couple people. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it has to be like 2 or 3 people. You know, it's not like one person gonna listen to 68 times in a row to them. You know, I sound nice, I guess, but not that nice. Not that nice. You know what I mean? But anyway, so that's why I always say keep producing the content, because eventually people will find it, people will like it, and people will be like, huh, I want to follow this person and that person. You know. And then once they follow you, make sure you give your opinion. So, I mean, some people gonna like it, some people gonna fall in love with you, and some people gonna fall out of love with you, and some people ain't gonna like it. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm sure some people probably in the beginning they was like, oh, I like this podcast, and eventually they was like, if he says, you know what I mean, one more time, I'm canceling his behind, and you know, I can't, you know. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's it for today. I gotta go buy some print ink. I gotta get back and get to work. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the podcast. My name is Tony Rizzano. Don't keep those opinions to yourself, boys and girls. Hand them out. People want to hear what you got to say. All right? That's it for now. That's it for the podcast. We will talk to you tomorrow. And as always, everybody, peace.